Just recently, SoFi made yet another important announcement on Twitter. When Commander Noto said he's going for long-term sustainable growth, he's not lying.
I told you, only truth.
He does this by investing in products and services needed to make SoFi a household brand. Long story short, people were asking for margin investing, and luckily, SoFi heard you. Featuring SoFi's new revenue stream, you can now get a margin investing feature on SoFi app at just 3%. In this video, we'll be going over what this means for SoFi, the revenue that it could bring, and if you stick through to the end, we'll give you a glimpse into one of our friends' personal experiences with using margin. Welcome to Wealth Gambit. On this channel, we cover all things stocks, from stock news to fundamental analysis. Just a disclaimer, we're not financial advisors, so always do your own due diligence. By the way, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on our social media pages to be updated on more stock news, market updates, and some awesome SoFi memes. Also, shout out to Chando, Jimmy Jim, Super Nurse, and Sandy Goat for commenting and liking our previous video on the acquisition of Golden Pacific Bancorp. We appreciate you guys. As the rewards increase, so do the risks. This is what you get from margin investing. Though it lets you increase your buying power and gives you access to more cash, there's a lot more to it than you may think. Margin investing, also known as leveraging your position, lets you borrow money from a brokerage, and in this case, you could borrow money from SoFi using your existing holdings as collateral when you don't have enough cash after a sudden dip and a buying opportunity comes to light. According to Wall Street Journal, when you're buying securities with borrowed funds, on one hand, you could magnify your gains, but on the other hand, there's the potential to magnify your losses. It has a few perks though. I mean, you don't need to stress yourself out wondering which securities to sell just to raise cash for your desired investment. At the time of recording this for SoFi, margin works with an account that must have a balance of at least $2,000. The buying power you wish to get can be calculated depending on the amount of cash in your account and the funds you can borrow from your broker. The overall account balance, current equity, and specific securities held are also taken into consideration. Until May 31st, users of SoFi's app can now borrow money at 3% against investments already owned to buy more stocks and ETFs. Starting on June 1st, it will be 5%. This means a competitive annual interest rate of 3% will be on top of the margin loans until May 31st. This brings a huge new revenue stream for SoFi and will be very good within the up and coming years. Another big thing to look out for is when SoFi introduces options. Imagine the wombo combo of margin and options, not to mention SoFi home loans, student loans, credit cards, and all of the other products and services that SoFi offers. This company will be unstoppable in the years to come. In a world where people are YOLOing their life savings into meme stocks, margin could be very dangerous. Let me give you an example of one of our friends' experiences with margin. Sometime during early 2020, our friend bought Tesla before the stock split, and although Tesla did skyrocket to the moon in 2021 and he made a ton of profit, there were some really rough times. When Tesla dipped, he got tagged with margin calls, which were no bueno. Eventually, he ended up covering them and actually ended up profiting big, but it was still very risky. So yeah, please be careful when using margin. If you've ever used margin, comment margin down below and let us know if that ended up working out in your favor. We're really curious to see. If you get margin called, you'll still pay the money you borrowed and of course, the interest that comes with it. During a margin call, you have no choice but to add more money or sell your existing holdings just to repay the loan.
As the old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. If margin investing is something that you want to pursue, you may want to carefully consider a few things. Your plan to pay back the margin loan, additional risks that you'd be taking on using margin, and your plan to avoid or respond to margin calls.
When SoFi is getting all prepped to step their game up,
And we are fully prepared.
after the most anticipated catalyst, we can't wait to see the great news that comes in the future. The market hasn't been in favor of the fintech industry these days, but if you're long on SoFi, just know Captain Noto's plan to disrupt the banking space is now taking full effect. That wraps up today's video, guys. Do you think you'll use margin from SoFi? What are your thoughts on SoFi's newfound revenue stream? If you found any value in this video, share this with someone who likes this type of content, and until next time, peace.